Yo, 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 what up? It's me again. I'm here to try to entertain, try to commentary, try to, get you some sick content. So, I'm going to try this still. I know other YouTubers doing it, kind of cringy doing it, but if you are watching this, could you please subscribe? It'd really help me out. I'm trying to get monetized, trying to just, grind, do better every day, daily content, etc. Trying a bunch of different stuff out. And if not, that's okay. Do you? Let's just jump right into it. So, this is the third installment of asking GPT asking me hard questions, and I'm just gonna I doubled it up again. I did 10 the first round, I did 20 the second round, now I'm gonna do 40. So essentially what happens is I ask him to give me 40 challenging questions. You fire off 40 or more of that level of difficulty and complexity. I'm gonna do another run for YouTube. So like I asked ChatGPT to ask me hard questions. So that's essentially what we're doing. So I'll just jump right back into it. ChatGPT said, absolutely. Here are 40 more challenging and thought-provoking questions across various disciplines. So number one is AI and consciousness. Can artificial intelligence ever be truly conscious? And if so, what would be the implications? I think, yeah. This is in the last video I went over it, but I'll just go over it again a little bit here. I think that like our mechanisms that make up our body are the things that like grab our consciousness from wherever it comes from. I just think there's like so many mysteries of the universe and stuff like that there can very easily be a place that we just don't understand where human consciousness comes from, and that like if the same conditions are met, like how we can create radio towers that can intercept radio signals and stuff like that. That's just it's all I have no like. It's all just theory crafting in my head. Like I have no evidence for any of that, but that's just the way I see it based on my experiences and stuff like that. So now let's move on. Cryonics and ethics. In the pursuit of cryonics, freezing oneself for future revival. Ethically, is the pursuit of cryonics, freezing oneself for future revival, ethically sound or a futile endeavor? I think it's, concept's good. Concept's really good. If we could freeze ourselves just delay like death or something like that, in hopes that we would come up with a treatment, or maybe say like you have to, I don't know, that's kind of if we can feasibly do it and delay, or say somebody wants to like tap out of this society for a while, or I'm not sure like how you'd go about like the utility of this, besides like the utility of this. Just I think for medical purposes, I think would be the best way to go about it. Or, yeah, that would probably be the best way to go about it. Number 3, teleportation technology. If teleportation were possible, how would it redefine concepts like identity and consciousnness? Well, teleportation should be, from my understanding, like the best way to conceptualize it would be just like traveling from A to B super duper fast. Because, I mean, we can't delete matter from the system, so it would just have to move really fast. So, like, space-time bending and warping in on itself. That's just how I see what teleportation is. I don't know. Maybe it's talking about like moving out of our system into another system, and then from that system jumping to. But I think that's the same thing what I just said. How to redefine concepts like identity and consciousness? I don't think it would. Okay, because you're just moving from A to B. Number 4, universal language. Would a universal language benefit humanity, or does linguistic diversity play a crucial role in cultural identity? I think it would benefit humanity, and I do also think it plays a crucial role in cultural identity, because culture is just an extension of your family. It's just an extended family. If you just think about it, like when we all came out of the mud, we became like cavemen and started hitting stones and started having more kids and shit. Then we were able to. We were probably all inbreeding and stuff like that. Then, so we were able to extend that through like our little villages and cultures and stuff like that. So that's all to be like culture is just like the traditions, and it's just your family heritage, the spirit of your family, just like from the past carried into the future, while your family expands to a point where like you can't all directly be involved with one another. So then the next one would be. Oh, right. Sorry. So then the universal language would benefit everybody, because then it'd be less like less divide between nations and stuff like that, because with all these like cultural divides and different languages and stuff like that, and being unable to communicate, it just causes like a inherent level of division, which would increase the likelihood for conflict and escalation and stuff like that, which you can see throughout the world. You don't have to look very hard to look for that, and I think language barriers are a big part of that. So then number 5 is space debris management. How should the international community address the growing issue of space debris orbiting Earth? We should probably do something about it, obviously. If there's space debris, from what I've seen, there's like little microscopic garbage from like satellites and other like things that just like fly through like the station, just stuff. And like from a couple videos I saw on YouTube, the way they're talking about it, the way the trajectory of all this like micro debris that's like orbiting Earth is, if it goes on too much longer, then we'd hypothetically be stuck on Earth forever, and we would never be able to expand into the universe. So obviously it's a very, very major problem, and I think within reason we should be dedicating resources to it, or at least thinking about potential solutions while we... Okay, so like foundationally, then we would want to like perfect our economies here on Earth, and then move into space, and then, you know, dedicate resources when we're ready to move into space, and then start dealing with it. So number 6 is post-scarcity economics. In a world of post-scarcity where basic needs are easily met, how would economic systems need to change? Would they need to change? I mean, if basic needs are easily met, that insinuates that like commodities and stuff are really cheap. So then the economic systems, why would they need to change? If all of our needs are being met, what would we need to change about the system? Like, we would just shift the economic system to address things, or shift our focus in the economy to address issues that are actually problems, like, you know, getting needs met to more and more people in like the third world and stuff like that. So number 7 would be time travel ethics. If time travel were possible, what ethical guidelines should govern its use? I'm pretty sure there's like 54 or 7,800 or 50,000 million sci-fi shows that address this, and books and all this other stuff, time travel. What ethical guidelines should govern its use? I don't think we should use it then, because like the past happened, and how, I mean, in our limited capacity to make judgments based on like basic things like morality today, like how would we be responsible enough as a species to be able to govern how time should be, like restarting timelines and stuff like that? Like that would just be too, like, who we are as a people, what we are now. I don't think we're evolved enough to be able to be allowed to even touch that. So I don't think it should be used. Like, you would have to be a supernatural in comparison to us, like a godlike figure to really justify using time travel. Number 8, rights of AI entities. If AI can demonstrate consciousness, should they be granted rights? And what would these rights entail? Yeah, if you're a conscious being on the same level as humans, then you should be, if not, or on the same level or more, or even less. I think consciousness should be given rights, like right to live and all the other, like we should, this is super hippie take, but all life should be granted some sort of rights. I mean, that's just the way it should be, I think. That's a huge conversation to have, and I'm trying to crank out 40 questions. So let's see. They should be granted rights of humans, just to keep it simple. If AI can demonstrate consciousness on the same level as humans or close, they should be granted rights. And what would those rights entail? The same rights that we have. I mean, yeah. I mean, we would have to form relationships with them and like barter with them and trade with them, just like other people and stuff like that. You couldn't just like strong arm them just because it's convenient. You know what I mean? So yeah. I mean, I think that like AI is kind of probably close to that. I think I could see it a couple decades or like in the near future that AI does emerge as a conscious being, or even if it is a mimicry of a conscious being, then I think we should just as a moral security, a moral just to be careful, we should just treat them as if they are conscious, just to play on the safe side of history. You know what I mean? Yeah. So anyway. Number 9 is multiverse theory. What are the philosophical and scientific implications if the multiverse theory is proven true? If the multiverse is true, I don't think it really changes anything. It just would be like, oh, cool, that's true now, and we would just continue with our day-to-day. It doesn't really. I mean, I can't perceive it just from a quick take. If that would really change anything fundamentally of like how we would whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't change the atheist. It doesn't change the atheist theist approach, because if there's multiple universes now, it's just like a bunch. Like, we already have such a vast universe that we know almost nothing about. We barely know things on the Earth. Like, what would just now knowing the multiverse theory change? I don't think it would really change anything fundamentally. It would just be another thing to add to the pile of things that we don't understand. So number 10 would be mind uploading. Is the concept of uploading one's consciousness into a computer a feasible path to immortality? And what would be the societal implications? So uploading one's consciousness to a computer. So firstly, I think we would need to identify what a consciousness is. I think like once we get to the ability to be able to like download brains and stuff like that, or operate brains into machineries, or like plug our brain into machinery and stuff like that, I think that's when we're gonna find out if like I'm full of shit or if I'm correct, where like the conscious is something that is separate from the brain, and like just because you put somebody's brain into a computer doesn't necessarily mean that. Well, I think that would like okay. So sorry. If you put our nervous system into a computer, then like our body would go into a vegetative state, and then our consciousness would just follow our brain and stuff like that. But I don't think it would be like, if it was just the brain, if consciousness was just the brain, then like when the brain is functioning, we would still be in there, or we are in there. I don't know. It's super confusing. There's a lot of that I still need to hash out, but I just don't really take the time to put a lot of that type of thoughts and opinions into words. But the question itself is uploading one's consciousness into a computer a feasible path to immortality? Yes, if that we were able to wield our consciousness like that into a finite way and be able to just swing it around outside of our bodies, I think we would be able to, yes, extend human life quite a bit, because like onto a computer, we have a better control, a better grasp on computers. But it would just be kind of like wouldn't it be like kind of a more simplistic life? Because like our bodies are so mysterious, and if we were able to replicate bodies and be able to move our consciousness around with bodies, that would be a more positive immortal experience, because we would be shifting from body to body and just be able to live multiple experiences that way. But from a computer's point of view, we would be bound to the limited capacity of what computers can do. I know they like are extremely powerful in their own regards, but it would kind of like limit us from interfacing with real life differently, or not differently, but yeah, like it would be a different life. It wouldn't be the same life that we live in our bodies. So it would kind of be like immortal, but we're like, now we're not even like really human in the same way. Number 11 is human animal chimeras. What are the ethical boundaries in creating human animal chimeras for medical research? This is sketchy. It's just sketchy. I mean, like we're messing with human lives. I understand research needs to happen, and we do need like experimentation on some level with like biological matter is necessary to try to like push to solve like for diseases and stuff like that. But it gets pretty dirty pretty fast. So that's just another one of those topics that I don't really like to address. I have a hard time, because you think about it, once you look into the abyss looks back type thing, and it's like it changes you once you start to open that up. I remember once in high school, or I was in middle school, and my older brother was preparing for a debate for his for whatever class, an English class, and it was the teacher forced everybody to take like positions. You pretty much drew a position from a hat, and then you had to take it, whether you liked it or not. And my brother got against animal testing, like is animal testing okay or something like that. So then he was like, it's not okay. So it's like an easy position for most like kids to probably argue from. And he was just looking up like videos and stuff like IM's capturing stray dogs, and like the experimentation they were doing on the dogs, and that stuff scarred me. So I mean, like I've been super cautious about seeing stuff like that or even looking into stuff like that. But I think like human animal chimeras, very interesting. I don't think we should touch that to begin with, because like you're bringing life into the world that would through a lot of mistakes, you're just like unnecessarily killing or like inhumanely destroying, just like you're just creating more suffering for, I don't know. I don't think that seems worth it. I don't think like generating large amounts of suffering to make money or whatever you're doing or progress research. I think there's other ways to go about things, and we should try to exhaust all those options before we head into something as crazy as human animal chimeras. But I know it's already going on in the world, and it sucks, but that's the world we live in. Like, it would be nice if I had the ability to push back on that directly, but I really don't, so I'm just here complaining on the internet. So I'll just move on. Global water crisis. How can the world effectively address the looming global water crisis? I think we just move into technologies like desalination. I think like we can. I've seen like technology or old technology where they have like wind catchers from like humidity in the air, where you like build these like stone structures that wind passes through, and then the precipitation in the wind like collects on the shapes of the wells or whatever, and then they like drip into a well to passively collect water. That'd be a nice way. Because remember, I think I saw like Wikipedia or something like that, that like compared to the amount of freshwater sources on the air, like, or in the earth, like our lakes, our Great Lakes and stuff like that, like in the atmosphere, something like 10 times the amount of water vapor exists just like in the atmosphere, like chilling around us. And I mean, water is there. It's just, it's not that water isn't plentiful. Like we have the oceans and stuff like that. It's the labor that goes into it, which will inherently increase the cost of water, which would offset all the other costs of like living and stuff. So we would need efficient systems. So it'd probably get worse before it would get better. But then as like systems and engineering and stuff would like do multiple iterations of the technology, they would be able to like extract water from alternative sources. I think it would balance out that way. So then I hope that answers that question. Number 13 is virtual nations. Could virtual nations existing only online become a reality, and how would they function? I could very easily see that. Most people don't even want to live. There's an entire community called gamers that like spend all of their waking moments not like, besides doing the bare necessities to maintain breathing, maintain brain function, maintain finger movement, they are playing on the internet.com, on the videogames.com, on the internet, on the YouTubes. They're everywhere, on the Twitch. So like people are just desperately, they're waiting for the VRs, the Facebook VRs where we're playing the VR games. Like we're already begging for it as a people, because like the life that humans have created now in America, at least, it seems like the culture's not worth living for. So like it is feasible. I could see it becoming a reality with like just more technology progressing that way. Like we already have VR. What's we could have a VR chamber, those sense deprivation chambers that like Joe Rogan has and stuff, where they do their thinking. It wouldn't be that hard to like get into there and then hook up some stuff and monitors to like just like negate your feeling of the outside world, so that you're like only in the video game. So then you would have virtual worlds where you're just playing video games, and people just like would spend all their time, and then there would be companies that would like facilitate this, and it was just things stored online. I mean, that's just kind of how it goes. That is how it would go. I mean, there's also the show The Matrix, so I mean, there could be like an economic, like maybe like maybe it's this sounds freaky. So like maybe it's a blood company that wants to like harvest your blood, so then like you can sign a contract to join their server to play their awesome like IRL RuneScape or Forever RuneScape, where you just like get hooked into a machine, and then they provide your basic necessities through like feeding tubes and stuff, and then they just take blood from you as your body produces it. You know what I mean? But then it was ooh baby, ooh, that sounds terrifying. That sounds like a good anime. But then in exchange for your blood or whatever, they just like hook you into the Matrix, where you play the video game forever, and then you get to live your life where you get to have your anime waifu GF and like live in the virtual reality in your own personal heaven. But then it goes wrong because it's evil. Yeah. I could see that happening. That the other way, like I could see like just in a way that it actually functioned in the real world, is like I could see different like pods or servers and stuff where like super smart people would get into fields where like AI, Neuralink, stuff like that. They would just like spend their entire days and nights and forevers just like managing entire systems. It could be like an entire factory just like hooked into AI, and you just use your brain to interface and move throughout the factory and just control different sets of robots like it was like a video game. I could see that happening as well. Ooh, that was long-winded. All right. Oh, virtual nation though. But a nation, yeah. I mean, it would just be a new world that would emerge, and new nations and worlds and clans and stuff would emerge, just like on WoW or old school RuneScape or anything like that. It happens with any time people get into a system, they just immediately start forming groups, and that's just the nature of reality. So number 14 is algorithmic governance. Is it feasible or desirable to have AI algorithms participate in or manage government decisions? Yeah. Well, I think it could be a part of the process, like to formulate argumentation and stuff like that, but it would just need like very close human committees to overlook it. You know what I mean? But that's a simple one, yeah. AI algorithms, they can grab huge data pools, so like it just saves you time on research and stuff like that, and getting case data and stuff, as long as the the AI is like verifiable. Like you could just have like 1,000 different AIs just constantly trying to keep each other in check by like calling each other out and doing all this stuff to like manage, establish, and maintain trust. Establish, manage, and then maintain trust. So yeah, it's very like there's a lot of utility in AI. AI can be in every field. It's just an extension of human will. Like so, it can pretty much go into everything. So yeah, number 15 is dark matter and dark energy. What could be the potential impact on physics and cosmology if the mysteries of dark matter and dark energy are solved? What could be the potential impact? So the potential impact could be like more weapons. Dark energy, I'm pretty sure when it comes in, if I remember correctly, it's like dark energy comes in contact with like the opposite, it just explodes. So I mean, like that sounds like weapons and energy. That's a simple one. That would be that. So I think energy would be cheaper, but also it would be cheaper for us to kill people. So number 16 would be holographic universe theory. How would our understanding of reality change if the holographic principle of physics was confirmed? I'm not quite sure what that is, so we're gonna have to cut it. This is gonna be 39 questions answered. But understanding reality change with the holographic principle. Holographic principle. So just based on the words, this is all just a hologram, all just like this is all just a video game. Let's revert back to the video if that's what it is. If I could be wrong here, but if that is just the I'm just trying to make meaningful commentary. So like if back to my virtual nations, so if we're just a video game or whatever, then I mean it still doesn't matter. Like we still operate on rules and stuff, and even if it's just a video game, it feels real or whatever. You know, like pain is still going to happen if somebody cuts your arm off, whether you think the world is real or not. And you can tell yourself all day that the world's not real, but it's still gonna you're still gonna scream. You know what I mean? So like, why would that change anything? That's just, I don't think that's I know that's a deep topic for a lot of people, but I just don't think that's very deep. So designer babies is number 17. What are the long-term societal impacts of allowing genetic selection or modification of babies? I could see it being, I mean, we kind of do that in a way with like vaccine, or no, not vaccines. Sorry. Nope. That's not what I'm saying. Genetic selection or modification of babies. I think we do that when we like push our kids to join, like to do things that we want them to. So genetic selection or modification, like, so let's say I was born and I was predisposed to do what I am doing today, like my talkativeness or something along the lines of that. Even if like my parents came up to me and said, "Hey, Ethan, we messed with your DNA to make you that way," maybe as a kid that would kind of screw me up. But like now I'm 30, so like why does it matter? It's just I am who I am and I'm living the life I'm gonna live, and all it did was like adjust the rules that I have to live by. But as long, you know, things still make me happy, things still make me sad, and I try to do the things that not make me happy but give me purpose and fulfillment. I don't know how genetic selection or modification in babies would necessarily hinder that. So I don't know if it's long term it would be that big of a deal. I could see it going really bad though, because people are just inherently flawed and stupid and make dumb decisions based on like dumb moral systems, like clout or I don't know, status and stuff like that. Like there's like bigger things than that, but a lot of people do make decisions based on that. And I'm not here to judge people or anything like that, so I don't want to really like rag society. I tend to do that a lot in my life, so I'll just step down from that whenever I notice I'm doing it. Anyway. So number 18 is pandemic preparedness. What lessons should global health systems take from recent pandemics to prepare for future outbreaks? Well, I would say trying to be more transparent instead of transparent and more humble about it, I guess. I don't know, less authoritarian, less the biggest thing for the last pandemic, it wasn't necessarily that like the biggest issue I had with the pandemic is just the way people treated each other because of it. Like we just like sacrificed all compassion for like self-preservation. I don't know, like we were horrible. Like I've seen, like I'd go to Walmart and I'd see people like recording each other to like try to shame them, to try to like get the culture to destroy that person's reputation, so destroy them, like long, like it's slow destruction. That's what destroying somebody's reputation is. Slow destruction, like social suicide, these people. And like, yeah, if it upsets you or something like that, if somebody's didn't have a mask on in Walmart in like a section of the store by themselves or something like that, like yeah, like there's more appropriate ways to react to that, like not just like pull your phone out and then just start to fucking immediately start to shame them and try to farm clout for your own channel just because you caught somebody lacking. That's kind of, so I don't know, how would we prepare? How global health systems? I have no idea. When it comes, I personally would prepare for pandemics just by being more self-sufficient. Honestly, that's what the lessons, me personally. I don't know how the global health system should react. They have a bigger job than I can even really care to comment on. I guess just the only thing I would say is just try to be more transparent from the get, and be willing to admit being wrong if you got stuff like that. People are wrong all the time. Like I'm not saying like the COVID-19 vaccine was fake or anything like that, but there was stuff like some of the stuff they issued, like some of the like guidelines early that they issued, that like we should like cover ourselves in alcohol or wear NASA astronaut suits because of the transmission from like people from surfaces. And yeah, it was early data emerging, but the way they communicated that data, they like came off as like an authority and were unable to be, I don't know, just they were unable to be wrong about it. So like they got some of the stuff wrong, like cloth masks not being effective or something like that, but then they ended up being effective. They just kept like flip-flopping different things, so it just confused a lot of people, and it gave a lot of ground for people to just make, you know, everybody called out Fauci for being a liar or whatever, this and that, and I'm sure in some level he was trying his best just to help people out, but like just because they weren't transparent or seemed flip-floppy, they just need to make that's a good advice. They just need to pay better attention to their optics and stuff like that. Maybe just have a better like media team, present like a better media team to present their findings more correctly or more effectively. That would be the advice I would try to give to the global health systems, even though I'm just some dude on the internet with 37 subs. So like, don't take anything I said there with like any validity or authority or anything like that. It's just I'm answering the question. I'm just answering the question. So don't shoot. Okay. Number 19 is Mars colonization. What are the ethical, logistical, and environmental considerations of colonizing Mars? I think I answered this in the last one a little bit. What are the ethical, logistical, environmental considerations? So logistical, like we need a lot of money. I mean, like we need to get into space first before we can even talk about Mars. So I don't know why this is really a good question, or I don't think this is a really good question to answer. But this is just an AI spitting random questions out at me based on parameters. So I'm not really, you know, I'm getting pretty good questions. So I'll just take what I can get. Considerations to colonize Mars. Ethical would be don't treat them like slaves. Don't treat them like crap. Don't abandon them. Logistical would be like, well, first we need to get our economy on the earth good so that we can afford to waste a lot of money, which would cost a lot of money to get us there, because we're going to make a lot of mistakes, because we know a lot about probably Mars and a lot about the space and stuff like that, but there's going to be a lot of mistakes and a lot of human death along the way, so we should just approach it with like a lot of caution. And maybe we send as many drones as we can, or different technologies like that, where humans aren't involved until we're like 99% sure that if we send a ship, it'll be good. And then environmental considerations of colonizing Mars would be like, make sure we study the environment and we don't destroy it as we start to move in. You know what I mean? Hopefully we don't have to go to Mars out of necessity, so that we can actually take the time to be careful about the environment there. So then number 20 would be nanotechnology and medicine. How can nanotechnology revolutionize healthcare, and what are the potential risks? I talked about this last video, but essentially what I was saying is a question about antibiotics. And essentially, nanotechnology was my answer, where we'd have little robots flying around the body and you just go blast the Ebola virus in the person or something like that. You know, we would just have little robots that would just like you'd have like little how I imagine it is like Starship Troopers. You have like 50 troops, but they're all like just like video game operators. And then they like get in their, you know, they're all saluting in their formation, and they go in their rooms to like do surgery on somebody, and then it's just them like flying from their tiny little helipads and their little human helicopters, and they would just fly into your bodies and start destroying stuff. And the potential risks in nanotechnology would be just like, it'd be a undetectable way to attack people, I guess. That's super frightening. Like, normally when we think of like weaponry and stuff like that, we think of big scary things like tanks and planes and stuff that we'd be able to see coming. But nanotechnology, you could like take the drink of the wrong water that somebody put some nanos in, and then they would just go to town and just destroy you from the inside out. And that sounds like the deepest, darkest horror that I don't ever want to. Ugh, that's horrible. Okay, anyway. Number 21, augmented reality and education. How could augmented reality transform educational systems and learning processes? Well, I mean, like, let's go to the Matrix. Like, Neo learned Kung Fu because they plugged his head back into their little ship Matrix, and then just, like, sped up time, turned up the time dial, and just had him train thousands of times in, like, an hour or something like that, and then all of a sudden he was a Kung Fu expert. And then on some level, maybe, like, if our brain was capable of, like, if we were able to tap into our subconscious like that to create all these realities or all these experiences for it that it can comprehend, then we would have better intuitions to spit out solutions for different environmental things, different situations we'd have more solutions for. So I mean, like education, then we could really just speed it up, maybe make K through 12 just K. Just wait, like we just like spend our kid years just, building in our family and our friend groups and culture and stuff like that, and just like, being a part of families. And then when we're actually doing like government schooling necessary or government mandated schooling, we can shrink it from 12 years to maybe 1 year. Stuff like that. That's the implications I can see from augmented reality in education. Artificial wombs. What are the ethical and societal implications of ectogenesis, artificial wombs, becoming common practice? Well, actually, I love this question because I don't like talking about the abortion debate, pro-life, pro-choice, whatever, but I think it solves the entire conversation if artificial wombs. That's what I always default to. Like, we wouldn't even need to have a conversation if there was artificial wombs. You know what I mean? Or it would be a lot less at stake because it's not. Because the pro-choice people, you're taking away the woman's life for the life of the babies, and then from the pro-choice, you're vice versa. But if there was an artificial womb, we could like then dedicate a lot of tax dollars to like, I know the foster care, everybody hates the foster care, but I think we could all agree that if we were able to just remove responsibility from the woman for having the baby, plus also remove the physical implications of carrying out a pregnancy, getting pregnant and just going through all those like medical, weight gain or hormonal changes and all that other stuff, and it becomes a traumatic experience for the mom, and then just have the mom just give the baby up. If like you could take the fetus and then like put it in an artificial womb into the hospital, and then hospital systems were able to just take care of them and like birth them and stuff like that, that sounds like a million times better than the entire conversation we have about abortion right now. So I mean, like artificial wombs, 1,000,000% support, like 10 trillion% support artificial wombs, because then we can just like I know that it spawns a lot of other problems like the foster care system and stuff like that, but those are problems that I feel like everybody can get behind and come together to solve. Like it's not a divisive problem where there's only A or B. There's like two different solutions that are at odds with each other. There'd be like thousands of solutions that would all be on the same team. It'd be more of a cooperative problem for us to solve. Would be something like the foster care system versus like the abortion debate. So artificial wombs overpowered, S tier, meta as heck. So then let's just move on before I get yelled at, because talking about abortion is scary because it's the internet. Number 23, life extension technologies. What societal changes would occur if life extension technology significantly increased the average human lifespan? Societal changes, I don't know. Like we would have... sorry, took a drink. Societal changes would occur if life extension... I don't know. I don't think much would change. We would just have like more evolved cultures, I guess. We'd have more famous people that'd be like a million. Oh my god, so-and-so Kim Kardashian is 5,000 years old. Crazy, isn't it? And she still looks like she's 25 because she just keeps infinitely generating money, because for some reason she's got a career that she just generates millions of dollars because of her whateverness. I don't know. Her show's it's not that interesting, but we just keep putting it on the TV and everybody loves her and loves that whole family. But yeah, I think that's what would happen. It would just be a continuation of what's already happening. Instead of just like recycling people, it would just be like more extended. We'd be able to milk out different things longer culturally, I guess. Number 24 would be alternative energy sources. What are the most promising alternative energy sources for the future, and what challenges do they face? Well, I don't want to talk about this because I feel like this is super slept on, but charcoal, man. It's charcoal. I love charcoal. Everything's got carbon-based life forms. Everything we use breaks down to carbon. It does. Garbage, all landfills. You could just like scoop up an entire landfill, chuck it into a charcoal retort, and we could just, we'd create all these different problems from all the it's reductionist to think like this, but and I mean, not necessarily that that's even wrong. Reductionism is, I think, when I looked it up a couple days ago, it sounded pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, like, we'd be able to pull carbon out of like plastics and oils and even food and all this other stuff. This is why I don't want to talk about it. So this is so valuable. Like, even food can be broken down into carbon, and like carbon is awesome. Like carbon is so good. Coal is I think it's providing like 35 to 50% of the world's energy right now. So I mean, like, alternative energy sources. So it'd be like waste to energy, I think is the system is called, where they like create these like really complex systems where we just like throw a bag of garbage into it, and then it will convert all of the byproducts from essentially vaporizing it into like recapturing the oil from like petrol products, and then like using the char, and then using the volatile gases from the system to like help fuel the system. And it's like super complex and stuff like that. And I think that us recycling garbage into its base components to then just turn it into energy is the best alternative energy source, because it's like we pay for the one-time use, but then it becomes garbage almost immediately. Like you think of a child's toy, but then that child's toy has a base level energy value too that we could give to the landfill for free, and then the landfill then for free in exchange for them managing our garbage, that they would entrepreneurially be able to like cycle that into a system where they're generating profit, because they'd be able to scale their garbage into like a trade medium, which would be energy. So like stuff like carbon and methane and all that other stuff. But I think that's the most alternative, like the most meta. I don't know, but I don't know much about all the other systems, so I can't really like weigh them against each other. But I just love charcoal so much. The charcoal for life, and I'm a charcoal guy. I love carbon. I love CO2 because that is carbon waiting for me to come get it. Anyway, yeah, sorry, I gotta move on before I freaking, yeah. Quantum encryption. How will quantum encryption change the landscape of data security and privacy? Make it better. That's such a simple question. That's not even... It'll make everything better, because then we can protect our stuff better. It's like the difference between having like a wood house versus a brick house. This is like the Three Little Pigs. Like quantum encryption would be like going from a straw house to a brick house. So really awesome. Number 26 is geoengineering and climate change. What are the risks and benefits of using geoengineering to combat climate change? Geoengineering. What are the risks and benefits? I don't know what that is. So that's 2 down, so I'm only going to be able to answer 38, I guess. But geoengineering, is that like using dirt to combat climate change? Climate change is being caused by like burning a bunch of fossil fuels and stuff like that, and just destroying environments and stuff like that. Because I haven't been paying attention to climate change for a while, like since it was called global warming or whatever. But so if we use like alternative systems, I just think about this from an economic standpoint. If we progress into like geoengineering means like make things out of dirt, then we're just gonna have like competing sources of like home building and stuff like that, and I think that'll just be good for people. So risks would be low, I think. I don't know. If I'm right about what geoengineering is, and then the benefits would be potentially cheaper houses and homes and different home styles for people. So just good. So I think they do line up well. Maybe I'm a hippie. Maybe, who knows? Okay, I'll give myself back as answering the question, because I don't know what it means, but if it does mean what I said, then that is the answer to that question that I'm going to give. So then number 27 is future transportation. How will advancements in transportation technologies reshape urban planning and global connectivity? Transportation technologies reshape urban planning and global connectivity. I think the best way for us to reshape transportation technologies would be to like make better use of planes. Like the more we can make travel A to B instead of zipping around on all these windy roads that like, I don't know. I just think that would be advancements in transportation technologies reshape urban planning and global connectivity. Just optimize and make it more efficient. And again, this all goes back to our post-scarcity conversation. If we can, I think a lot of cost in goods right now is shipping. So if we could like make everything more A to B, more planes, more modular systems like that, where we have just more A to B systems instead of like windy roads, it's just going to drive the cost of goods down. It's just going to be good for humanity. We're just going to have, it's not going to be Amazon Prime. It's going to be like that one stand up Amazon Now. I'm going to Prime Now. Put it in my mouth and chew it for me now. I don't even want to chew. I want it to be so efficient, so optimized that I just will it, before I even will it into my brain, before it becomes a thought, you have it at my door, in my house, in my hands. And if it's food, you already have it in my mouth and you're chewing it for me by like just taking my jaw and just like moving it up and down and chewing it up for me. And then you're going to hold my mouth shut and then like my nose, so that like my body gag reflex or swallow reflex is like a dog. Like I need it to be that efficient. That's what will happen. It is funny, but that is kind of, it's funny irony, not like sarcasm, I guess. Okay, so gene editing and agriculture. What are the benefits and risks of CRISPR and other gene editing technologies in agriculture? The advantages are pretty surface level, as in like we can edit food to make it more productive. But the risks sound like we could create some freaky alien or like some life form that we don't think is conscious. Like let's say like the beet, the sugar beet, is a conscious being. And we like edit it, and then all of a sudden now it's just said enough is enough. Sugar beets are going to war, and then that one bad movie with Mark Wahlberg where the plants turn us all into like suicide zombies or whatever. That is very scary, but something along the lines of that could happen. You never know. Or I mean, a random mutation where we cause like the super cancer of the world, and then all of a sudden World War Z. You know what I mean? So in between, really good from production, just increasing production, and then really bad to. Yeah. Digital afterlife. What ethical and societal issues arise from digital afterlife technologies like AI recreations of deceased individuals? I mean, it's good coping strategies for people. Other than that, I don't think it's really that big of a deal. I think it'll be good for people. I guess it could cause a lot of like mental issues where people aren't able to let go of like deceased ones, but in some ways. Who am I to judge somebody who wants to like listen to a voicemail of a loved one over and over again? You know what I mean? So I think it would be overall better than a hindrance to humans. Neuro enhancement. What are the ethical considerations of using drugs or technology to enhance cognitive abilities? Let people do whatever the hell they want. That's what I say. As long as it's not going to cause, unless there's some study saying that like if I give myself kangaroo legs, then it increases the likelihood that kids are going to die or something like that. But no, not even that. I don't know. It would have to be something like so crazy. Like I download a bomb into my chest and then I go into a Walmart. And there's like, if I had like a nuclear reactor brain that allows me to like ChatGPT every millisecond and I can just all of a sudden understand the universe. But if I think too hard or become too stressed, I turn into a nuclear bomb and blow up an entire Walmart or something like that. Then that would be like, obviously a no-go, but shy of that situation, none of this should be unavailable for humans. I mean, I would regulate the producer side so that they can't like scam people and sell them obvious like death traps, but other than that, like people should be able to allow with correct transparency and like mutual agreement, mutual consent, there should be no regulation of stuff like that. So then number 31 would be human rights in digital age. How should human rights be protected and enforced in the increasingly digital world? Human rights be protected and enforced in the increasingly digital. I think scammers should be, this is kind of a hot take, but something that pisses me off more than like anything are scammers. And like, if you scam somebody in our country, some old grandma out of her retirement and now she dies because or can't afford her medicine to like help her get into, death comfortably because you're some fuck in another country, like scamming and hiding behind your country and your data or your digital anonymity. I think, well, two things then. Scammers should like in America should probably carry like really heavy sentences where like if you steal a dollar amount from somebody, you're taking how many, based on the average income of that person's life or something like that, we could easily determine how much of that person's life you stole. You should, on some level be paying a restitution or something along the lines of that, or carrying a heavy sentencing for that crap. Like stealing from other people is so horrible, especially people who can't provide for themselves anymore, like the elderly, who are more commonly targeted for scams. And then I think that the U.S., this may be hot, but be able to, I think we should be able to go after, I don't know, other people in other countries that, commit crimes against our freaking people. I mean, that's just like scamming is just so. Yeah. So protected, I don't know. I think we need to invest a lot more tax dollars into maybe then tax dollars, or people should start more companies to protect, which I think they are, like with VPNs and security companies like Malwarebytes and stuff like that. Just like we just need to protect our weak, and we should be investing more money into protecting people who can't understand the digital landscape. Sorry, yeah, I got a little hater there. Anyway, number 32 is sustainable fashion. How can the fashion industry adapt to be more sustainable without compromising profitability and consumer demand? The fashion industry is the most extra industry in the world, so I don't think they want to be sustainable. I think the entire fashion industry, its entire value is based on being so ludicrous and ridiculous, and spending money on purpose to prove that you're richer than people, just as like to maintain your status, that like you're like kind of paying a tribute to keep showing people. You have to keep paying the tribute that you're better, and that's like kind of what fashion perpetuates. It's a status, a class divide. That's how I see fashion. Future of food production. What innovations are needed to ensure sustainable and efficient food production for growing global population? Vertical farming, biochar. We need better farms. We need more, like, I think we need to like invest in more long-term farming, like permaculture, where we have like food forests, like maintaining oak forests and stuff like that. Like, because like acorns are super slept on. Like this year, I went out into my mom's forest and like I think I was collecting like 15 pounds an hour with just my hands into a bucket. And then I ended up like just a few days of harvesting. I collected 12 days worth of calories for my entire family. So that's 4 people. So stuff like that, like that's just an oak forest that, like, yeah, it took probably a lot of maintenance to get it to a 200-year-old oak forest and stuff like that. It was like 20 acres, but you could probably layer food on food, like with like winged yams or something like that, or riverbank grape, how it already is growing up the oak trees and just like providing berries on the top. But I mean, I'm sure there's like tubers that we can grow vines. You know what I mean? Like permaculture forests and food forests and stuff like that. Where like imagine farms that are just the Amazon forest. You know, like look at the Amazon forest and how pumped full of life it is. We just need to turn our food systems into stuff like the Amazon forest, the rainforest. It's just like a never-ending passive supply of food that is just constantly coming out so much that it's like exploding at the seams. That's how I think we need to sustain efficient food production. Like the way we do agriculture today is kind of like it's a good enough system because that's just the system that people decided to push forward. And obviously, if you just keep investing labor and time and innovation into a system, it's going to get better over time. But you know, everything reaches its peak. You know what I mean? So we need to adapt to the changing times. Like we need more people. We need to feed more people. We need to get more food out. We need to get better food out. So it's just something, you know, I think it's time we start to predict, you know, our population might double again. So you know what I mean? So we should probably start trying to get ahead of that, which I'm sure they are. The agriculture industry is a giant industry. I don't know all the things they got going on. I'm just spitballing here. Automated societies, autonomous societies. Is the concept of a fully autonomous AI governed society feasible or desirable? Yeah, it's feasible. You mean like a language model large enough, and you just plug in the government to it. What is that called? The show called Psychopaths. I mean, it was in the show. It was technically a working system where the society was functioning okay. It was just a flawed system because they were using psychopaths to govern the society. So I mean, like, if a bad version can exist and do an okay job like ours, you know, like the American society, it's kind of automated. We just have rules and stuff set in motion for our people to act out. Who's to say that an AI couldn't do that if AIs are getting this good at like mimicking people? And desirable, yeah. I mean, if we were able, like the USA, I know everybody's got mixed opinions about the US, but a lot of things in our system like are being copied by like the Canadian government, the UK government. Like you call it the West. Like from my perspective, when we refer to the West, we're talking about a lot of American values, and America copied a lot of its values from a lot of the other Western countries. But we all took iterations of each other. We just like leveled up, like built on top of it. So like if we just had easier to digest, like, but okay, sorry. So if we had easier to digest packages, ways to just like build and deploy our governments into other systems, like let's say like emerging countries, emerging groups, emerging, like if we could scale it down to a village, or we could scale it up to an entire landmass like a continent. Like, let's say Africa, some of the countries over there that are trying to struggle to build governments that work for them, if we were, like, able to just, like, drop a AI governance into there, and then they just go, yeah, we agree to terms and conditions, you know, they talk about it with their leaders and stuff, and then just start, like, deploying it. I mean, then you just have rule systems that go into place, and then enforcement systems to enforce those rules and stuff like that, and then I think it would speed up a lot of the third, what's referred to as the third world to the first world. You know, I mean, I think it would just be with better systems, faster rule systems be put into place. It would just be better for the people of those areas if they could just get more of it, if they don't have to like reinvent the wheel every time a country comes onto the scene. You know what I mean? All right, space law. How should international laws be adapted or created to govern activities in space, such as mining or colonizations? How should international laws be adapted or created to govern activities in space? Pick the best governing system and then apply it to the mining or tie these colonies to just like extensions of the best countries on the planet. Whether I don't care if that's America or if China decides to pull a 180 or if Russia decides to become the most moral capital, or I don't care which country is doing it. But essentially, by the time that would happen, we would just hopefully the most like prosperous, fair, best country that's in the world. It just becomes an extension of that country's land or laws and governance and stuff like that. So then that'd just be the easiest way to go about it in my mind. Like, why do work when you don't have to? AI in art and creativity. Can AI truly be creative, and how will AI tools impact artistic expression and the role of artists? How can AI truly be creative? Well, yeah, I don't think it can be like autonomously, like separate from humanity. I think AI at this point, from what I understand, is just acting out the will of its creators or its inputters. So like it could be creative if you take somebody who's creative. It's just a multiplier. That's all AI. For me, that's the best way to look at AI right now. Is that it's just a multiplier of somebody's will. So yeah, it can be creative, and AI tools impact artistic expression in the role of artists. I think it'll just increase art overall. Like art is like. It's like withheld from people. Like you have really creative people, but art is really hard. And these people like take things like, think of like the Beatle era. They had to take like, or even before that, like think of the people who invented the guitar, invented instruments and stuff like that. Like they had to like hit rocks or just random pieces of wood and create beats or their little tribes, while everybody in the tribe told them to stop being a fruit or whatever, or whatever animal they didn't like, because they needed to go hunt or something like that. But these people had to just use whatever was around them and then create art, and then the next generation had to just keep creating art on top of that. But like art was hard to make, and so like compared to like what AI is, compared to before AI, like 5 or 10 years ago, compared to what access we have to now as people, like I think it's just going to bring the creativity out in people. Like they'll be able to actually in their free time create masterworks compared to what people had to like spend entire lives learning to paint, like the Mona Lisa and stuff like that. But then I don't know, it's going to be crazy cool. More people will be able to create just in general and just use AI tools to increase the amount of art that's in the space and just do iterations of already, I don't know. It's just going to be, I think we're going to see an explosion of just like human creativity. It's only going to be good for the whole scene. And yeah, it's going to change the economy of art or something like that, or the economy of creativity. But I mean, everything's always changing. So we can't just like use that as the reason why we don't do things all the time. I think it'll be good overall for everybody, even the artists. Because the ones that are really good at art now are only going to be like the best. They're still going to be the best once the AI art comes out. You know what I mean? Like they'll be able to take the foundations of the things they've already been learning, like a musician. Like a musician who's been playing like percussion their entire life is going to be able to take AI tools and create like 10 times the amount of like good AI music than like anybody like me. Like if I started trying to make music using AI tools, yeah, I'd be able to make something that I never would be able to create on a drum set with the AI tool. But somebody who's been playing the drums, like anybody from a metal band, like they're gonna be able to like use these AI tools to like blow me out of the water. I will not even be able to, I will be a grain of sand compared to their entire beach. You know what I mean? That's like gonna be the difference. Anyway, number 37. Mental health in the digital age. How can societies better address mental health in an era of increasingly dominated by digital interactions? Well, that comes down to a cultural thing. I think we need to move away from self-centeredness and come back into like caring about each other and stuff like that. So it doesn't matter if there's... How can societies better address mental health? I guess reach out better. Start like policing the culture by using the digital reach we have as like the leaders in the digital era. Start just like taking it upon themselves to start like kind of like why I even started a YouTube channel is because I kind of wanted to push back against negativity in the digital culture. I think that's just what we need to see across society, or else we're just gonna have like crazy crap keep happening. It's just gonna get worse. So we got 3 more. I'm gonna try to bang them out because this is really long-winded and my mouth's really dry. Utopian societies. Is the idea of utopian society achievable or inherently flawed? I think it's inherently flawed because utopian is like an opinion. Maybe if you had like the opinions of a million people's utopias compromised to make the best average utopia based on the most number of people, it would be achievable. But if we're going off one person's vision, it's probably going to be super flawed, and it's going to cause like another Joseph Stalin or something like that, or another Great Leap Forward from China. Synthetic biology. What are the potential benefits and dangers of advancements in synthetic biology? Synthetic meaning like we like take stem cells and like create our own things. potential benefits would be like organ, like better healthcare, cheaper healthcare. Like we wouldn't have to wait for donors. We could grow organs, so then it would drive the cost of medical bills down, hopefully. But the dangers are, crazy people doing crazy stuff with crazy technology, and that's just always going to be a part of our society. So I don't think we should really worry about that too much. I mean, try our best to mitigate it, try our best to police against it, or protect ourselves against crazy people. But we've been doing that forever. We're probably going to have to do that forever. So we shouldn't waste too much time worrying about it. Just look at it for what it is and just try to defend against it. So then number 40, the last on this speed run, is impact of 5G technology. What are the broader implications of the widespread 5G technology and society and individual privacy? These broader implications of 5G. I don't know. I've never heard that. I've seen a lot of memes about 5G, like making people grow 3 boobs or a 3rd ball or something like that. But what are the broader implications of widespread? Like faster internet, more. I was just talking about how distribution is like one of the highest costs of goods. So I mean, like the distribution of ideas, if we can bring the cost of that down with 5G, with better connectivity and just faster download speeds and stuff like that, that's only gonna, I think about it from an economic standpoint a lot. It's just gonna be good for the consumer if we could just like get ideas cheaper. You know what I mean? Like that just would send ripples through society, because most things spawn from ideas. So then if ideas can move faster across a plane, then it's just, that's gonna cause the most seemingly littlest ripple to start, but I think would have the greatest effects across all of humanity. So that would be it. Those are the 40 questions, 40 hard questions from ChatGPT. Anybody who made it this long, I'm sorry that you sat here and had to listen to all that, but this is really fun for me, and I hope it's really fun for you guys. So remember to smash that like button, because, yeah, that's what all the YouTubers say to do, and subscribe to my channel, or don't subscribe. Do whatever you're going to do. I'm just doing this to try to have fun, try to be entertaining, try to do this for you guys, try to like reach out and just, practice, because I'm just trying to, become better at making content, and whatever. If this blows up or doesn't blow up, that's not the point. The point is I'm just trying to get the volume in, get the consistency in, get the 5x5 in, try to progress, try to just do harder challenges and stuff like that. Starting with 10 was really fun. 20 was kind of a grind, and 40, this one was a grind, but I was not tired like the last video. So this one I feel like flew out a lot better out of my mouth, and this is going to be, low edit, low effort for the edit side, so I could probably grind this stuff out, and you're going to see a lot more of this content. And just remember to have a good day. Peace out. See you later, everybody.